Hello everyone, and welcome to this TCN how-to video guide. This is Josh Berry, Analyst of Health Promotion and Disease Prevention at ASTO, the Association of State and Territorial Health Officials. I am one of the ASTO folks that has the privilege of supporting the TCN Executive Committee, and I also have the unofficial title of TCN Webmaster. So I'm excited to have this opportunity to walk you through the different resources we have available on the TCN website pertaining to the 2016 TCN Policy Recommendations document. This how-to video is going to be the first of a video series designed to help TCN members and partners and visitors alike use some of the key resources on state and territorial tobacco control that are available on the TCN website. And so we have lots of materials currently up on the website in support of the TCN's 2016 Policy Recommendations document. And as a quick overview of that document, that was published in the summer of 2016 as a comprehensive guide of tobacco control policies that represent best practices for implementation at the state and local levels. So the document goes into detail on 21 different priority, policy, and system changes that can help improve tobacco control in the states and territories. And these recommendations are not meant to be prescriptive, but rather they are meant to be educational to state and territorial health departments, to stakeholders to help proactively engage in dialogue with partners and policymakers, and also to identify opportunities for collective action and to build momentum for ending the tobacco control epidemic. So that's going to be all you're getting from me at this point as far as a description of what's contained in the policy recommendations document. And so I'll be spending the rest of the time on this video walking through the resources that go into more detail on the document, and also show you the different options you have for viewing the document itself here on the TCN website. So I'm going to turn your attention now to my screen, which you should be able to see, and we're just sitting at the home page of the TCN website, which, as you see up on the top there, is tobaccocontrolnetwork.org. And so the easiest way to access the policy recommendations document from the home page is by using this new drop-down menu. This resources button that my mouse is currently highlighting is still the place where you'll be able to visit most of the resources of the TCN website, and I'll walk you through a couple of those in a moment. But you'll also see in this drop-down here, where I'm highlighting now, that you are able to visit directly through that button to go see the 2016 Policy Recommendations document right from the home page. So I'm going to go click on that right now, and this takes us to the interactive policy recommendations document that we have up on the TCN homepage. So the way that you would be able to flip through this document is you can click, I'm just using my mouse to click on the right and left arrows to view the different pages of the interactive document. The table of contents here is hyperlinked, so if I want to go directly to one of the different chapters of the document, I can do so directly by clicking on the table of contents there. On this toolbar on the bottom, you'll see that there are options for zooming in to get a closer look at some of the text. Zooming out, you're able to click this Zoom Auto button to have the document auto fit itself back to your window and be the right size to work in that way. You'll also see in the lower right corner here, there is a full screen option, and so I can click on that and the document then becomes full screen, and as you see in that highlighted window right there, you can just press the escape key on your keyboard to go right back to the web page. And so there are a couple reasons as to why ASTO and the TCN Executive Committee wanted to build out this interactive document as opposed to having it merely available as a static PDF on the TCN website. First, we wanted the opportunity to expand on the comprehensive information that's already included in the document by providing links to further resources to even additionally increase the educational value of the policy recommendations document. So all throughout the document, there are almost 200 different works cited that are all tabulated and have hyperlinks to them at the end of this document. All throughout the document, excuse me. You'll also see hyperlinks to different external websites. Those are these lighter blue ones here, so you can just do a right click and open those up in a new tab, and here you go. You're able to see the 50th anniversary Surgeon General's report directly from the policy recommendations document here. But then in addition, we wanted to go beyond just the hyperlinks that were included by the authors of the document and have some even additional information available. And that's available in the form of these pop-ups. There are about 30 or 40 pop-ups or so that you see in purple here all throughout the document. And what happens is when you click one of those pop-ups with your mouse, you'll see a window come up that provides additional links to more information. So for example, this is the pop-up that talks about preempting local authority from forming their own policy on tobacco control. So if I wanted to know a little bit more about what that meant, if I was unfamiliar with the term preemption and I wanted to learn more, you're able to click, and then again you have the option to right-click and to view additional informational documents on that topic that come from state, local, and national partners in tobacco control. And we're always looking for opportunities to populate the policy recommendations document here with even more external sources that might be relevant to folks. So if you have any, if you're aware of any state or national documents that might be helpful to include alongside this interactive document here, we do have a reminder at the bottom of the screen here that you are always welcome to submit resources and success stories to be included in this document here at our web address there is tcn@asto.org. And that brings me to the second reason why I think this interactive document is more helpful in some ways than just the static PDF. This was published again in summer of 2016, and the goal from the onset was not to make that document relative for just that subsequent legislative session or just for the coming year or two. The previous policy recommendations document was published in 2012, and so there's a similar vision to have this document be useful for 3 or 4 years past when it was published. And so one of the ways in which we think it's important to demonstrate the efficacy of this document is to also populate it not just with external links to resources, but to more information directly from the states and territories, to include state success stories. So if we're scrolling through the policy recommendations document here and coming up to one of the policy recommendations here, if you've had, for example, in your state or territory, a recent success implementing policy pertaining to the price of tobacco products. And that's something that we want to include right here in the interactive policy document. So again, if you have any state success stories or resources that you would want to make available to sort of boast to your colleagues about the great work that you've been doing, then again, you can certainly feel free to reach out to us here at tcn@asto.org, and then we will be happy to include those here in the policy document, this interactive version here, and then also talk about that in the TCN newsletter that goes out twice each month, so that we're really able to increase the usability of this document now and into the future. So that's a quick overview from me on the interactive policy recommendations document that is available here on the website. But there are other resources pertaining to that recommendations document that you can find just by clicking on that resources tab here. So this is still where the majority of the TCN branded resources that we've put together over the past couple of years are available to you on the website. And so again, I'm just clicking on the resources tab directly and not clicking on one of the scroll down buttons here. So if I scroll down a little bit on the page here, you will see about 2/3 of the way down, these are organized in sequential order from when they were published. Here we have an entry describing the TCN 2016 Policy Recommendations Guide. And so There's a description here, and to open that window up, I just clicked on this arrow, and then the description opens up into more information. So here again is another quick overview of the policy recommendations document, and then we have two hyperlinks here on the bottom of this entry. We have the online interactive document. That's the very same one that I just walked us through. That's accessible through the toolbar on every page of the TCN website. But then also we have the printable and shareable PDF. So if you want to not bother with the interactive form, and if you're just trying to look for something that you can print out or potentially share with colleagues, then you have the opportunity to view the PDF right there from that hyperlink on the Resources tab. And so you have the option of printing that out, of viewing this directly in its published PDF view. If you highlight your cursor to the top of the screen here, you'll see that I'm highlighting the download button, and so you have the option of downloading that to save on your desktop for easier access without the internet, or to email that along to colleagues that you think might want to see the policy recommendations document. So you have all of those options through that PDF link as well. In addition, I wanted to take a quick look at a couple of the other resources here on this Resources tab that provide some additional context and information on the policy recommendations document. Scrolling farther towards the bottom here, you'll see this link here for a webinar that was actually the kickoff of the 2016 TCN Spring webinar series that was released before even the TCN policy recommendations document was even available. And this webinar, it lasted about an hour and 15 minutes. It provides a really comprehensive overview of the 21 different policy recommendations that you can read more about in the document. It provided some background on the compilation and the drafting and publishing of the document. And it also goes over a state example of how the previous iteration of the document published in 2012 was used in one state to inform that state's strategic policy planning in their health department. So a lot of helpful context is included in that webinar, as well as there was a Q&A portion of that webinar when folks asked some questions and received some helpful answers from some of the TCN Executive Committee folks well involved in the publishing of that document. So available to you right here in these hyperlinks in purple towards the bottom of the screen are a recording of that webinar. Again, I believe it's about an hour and 15 minutes long. If you don't want to view the entire recording, you have access to just the webinar slides that you can click on right there. And then additionally, here's another link to the policy recommendations document itself, and that will take you again to that interactive document that you're also able to access right on that drop-down menu in the toolbar of the TCN web page. And then additionally, I wanted to scroll up for a moment right here and point out one additional resource here on the resources page of the TCN website that discusses the policy recommendations document in part. This was the first podcast of the 2016-2017 TCN podcast series that was published in the fall of 2016. And one of the several topics discussed in this podcast is the policy recommendations document and how that can be used to inform state planning efforts with regards to tobacco control policy. This was hosted by the TCN chair at the time, current TCN past chair, Andrea Mowry, and also former TCN policy chair, April Raisler, who was one of the key authors of the 2016 policy recommendations document. So they talk about the policy recommendations document there. You can view a brief recording of that podcast. You can look at a complete transcript that includes everything that Andrea and April said along with the terms of this podcast. And then in addition, you can also take a look at this interactive guide, this interactive policy recommendations step-by-step guide. And so this provides a more brief overview of the walkthrough I just did on the interactive policy recommendations document, where to go find it on the TCN website, the direct URL, how to zoom in and out, some of the document features, including those pop-up box and those blue underlined hyperlinks that I talked about. So that's another option for you to take a look at if you want to learn more about how to use the interactive policy recommendations document and access all of those features that it includes. So that's actually everything that we have on the TCN website pertaining to the policy recommendations. And so that'll be it for me on this video. So I want to thank everyone who took the time to listen in on this video. I hope it serves as a helpful guide on all the resources available on the TCN website relating to the 2016 policy recommendations document. As always, any questions about the policy recommendations document or the TCN website more broadly can always be directed to the TCN inbox at tcn@asto.org. Again, that's tcn@astho.org. Thanks again for joining and have a nice day.